Hey everybody, so in this video I'm going to be talking about my resupply strategy for my upcoming PCT thru hike. I know that resupply strategies is most people's least favorite part of planning their thru hike, so if you can glean anything from this video or copy as much of it as you want, I hope you find it helpful. I have been researching this resupply strategy for almost a year, so it's pretty much nailed down, but I'm still open to some changes. So if you have any tips for me or advice from previous thru hikes, please comment down below and I would love to hear from you. So there are pretty much 3 different ways that you can resupply on the PCT. The first way is you can send yourself all of your food. Every single resupply town that you go into, you will pick up a package from either a post office or a store or maybe a hotel. How this works is maybe your mom or a sibling or a friend ships your boxes to you and you pick them up in town. There are pros and cons to this. One pro is if you have any severe dietary restrictions. Maybe you are a raw vegan, or maybe you have a gluten intolerance or just a very severe number of allergies and you're really worried about resupplying in town and the options that you're gonna have, this is a great way for you to resupply. This can sometimes also be a cheaper way to resupply. I think in past years it definitely was. Recently, there are more and more places that are now charging you to pick up your packages, and that could be a $5 charge or a $40 charge. So I don't know if it's really considered much cheaper nowadays, but you definitely could find it to be cheaper. There are a couple cons for this resupply strategy. First off, you can get really sick of the food that you send because you most likely have had to prepare all your boxes before you ever got onto trail. So you might be really sick of your resupplies by the time, your box arrives. Also, are at the mercy of some crazy hours that you have to be aware of. So you have to make sure that you get into that town before the post office or the hostel or whatever it is closes. That can add a level of stress. Sometimes stuff is out of your control, like you can't get a hitch in time and you don't get your box, so you're stranded until the next day when the post office reopens. Another option is to not mail a single box and resupply 100% in town. A lot of times this is the most expensive way to resupply just because certain towns are hella expensive. Some locations are also gonna have really poor choices of food. So the only place to buy food in the whole town might be a gas station, and you're gonna have to spend a week on trail with only gas station food. A pro for this though is you don't have to worry about your timing. You can get into town pretty much at any time and you can change whatever town you want to go into. You're not nailed down to a specific location. Thirdly, and the most popular by far, and the way that I'm going to be resupplying is a little bit of both. You're going to resupply some in town and then others are going to be resupply packages. I have a list of the places that I'm most likely going to be sending boxes to, but they're going to be a little bit flexible. My mom will be sending them to me, so I'm going to buy a bunch of boxes and a bunch of food, pack some of them up, but then as I'm on the trail, I can give her a call and be like, you know what, don't send me a box to this place. Send me a box to this place instead. Also vegetarian, so I'm not super worried about my resupply points, but I'm a little bit worried. So the places that say that there's only a gas station to resupply, I don't really trust that they're gonna have enough vegetarian options for me. So if I end up sending a couple extra boxes, so be it. So in this video, I will list out the places that I'm most likely going to send resupply packages to. In the video, I'm just gonna write the name, but if you want the actual addresses, in the description bar below, I will link my blog poster that goes along with this video. So if you want the actual addresses, they will be on that blog post. Double check though, especially if you're not thru hiking in 2018, because some of these addresses may have changed. I have 14 resupply points. I am going to just read them off. My notes are like right over there, so if you see me looking, that is what I'm looking at. So first off, your very first place that you're going to want to send a resupply box to is Warner Springs. This is pretty much universal. Everyone across the board says to send a resupply box here. However, this is only a little bit over 100 miles into your hike. So send less food than you think you're going to need. So many people say this, that people oversend their food. So they end up chucking a whole bunch of stuff into the hiker box. So apparently Warner Springs has an amazing hiker box that you'll be able to supplement some of your food through. But also, your hiker hunger has not really kicked in yet at this point. It takes a couple hundred miles for your hiker hunger really to kick in. So if you're sending the same amount of food that you're gonna send to yourself in the Sierras, you're gonna be way, way, way hungrier in the Sierras than you are at Warner Springs. So send less food there than you do on any of your other boxes. The next place, there's a little bit of debate on this location. I'm probably going to send a box here, and that is Hiker Heaven or Agua Dulce. This Hiker Heaven is just like a must stop for all through hikers. You can get rides into town to resupply at a grocery store, so that is possible. But also a lot of people say, you know, you might not want to stay there really long and just pick up a box and get on the trail again. I'm gonna go ahead and send a box there, but you don't have to. If you're looking to cut down places to send a box, you can probably pretty easily resupply there. You're just gonna have to get a ride to a grocery store. Next is Kennedy Meadows. At the start of the Sierra, everybody says send a resupply box here because all you have to resupply there is a small general store that is apparently really expensive. You're also gonna be sending all your winter gear there, your bear canister, microspikes, your, ice axe, a lot of those things are probably going to be sent to Kennedy Meadows, so you might as well just send your food there as well. They do charge, I think it's $6 per box, so try to consolidate your boxes as much as you can. Apparently there is another small town, I think it's like 30 miles later, that you can send your bear canister to. So some people do that so you don't have to carry it an extra 30 miles, but then that's an extra town that you have to go into that you wouldn't typically have to go into. So it's up to you. I think I'm just gonna send my bear canister to Kennedy Meadows and be done with it, but that is an option. Also, a big decision that you have to make when coming in to Kennedy Meadows. When you leave Kennedy Meadows, you can either walk straight to the, I think it's called the Vermillion Valley Resort. It's 176 miles away. So you can either, that's about a 9-day hike. You can either hike straight there, or in the middle of that, you can hike out of the Sierra and go to either Lone Pine, Independence, or Bishop. Most people do not go to Independence. But if you do that, you have to hike out and back into the Sierra, which can cause you to lose a lot of time, and it's just really tiring. So, but also hiking 9 days in a row is a crazy amount, and you're gonna have a really, really heavy pack. But then you get to hike for 9 days without seeing a single car or anything. So make sure you kind of decide what you want to do before you get there, because that will determine how much food is sent in your resupply box. The next place that you're going to want to send a box is the Vermillion Valley Resort. This place charges you, I think it's $25 to pick up your package, which is a lot, but it's just way up in the mountains and it's really expensive to get supplies and get mail sent there, so of course they're gonna charge you. The next place is Sierra City. This is pretty much universal. Everyone says send a resupply box there. Next one is Belden, and I've heard either way. Some people say definitely resupply there via box, and other people say you can resupply just at the stores. I think it's on the more expensive side and there aren't great options. So I'm probably gonna send a box there. A lot of people list that as one of the least favorite resupply points. So I think I'm just gonna send a box there. Next up is Crater Lake. Oregon and Washington by far have the most resupply points, and it's kind of universal across the board, resupply via resupply box. Crater Lake, everybody says do it, send a box. I'm gonna do that. Next up is Shelter Cove. Again, just send a box. Next is Timberline Lodge. Again, everyone says just send a box, don't ask questions. Next is Trout Lake. This is in Washington. Next we have White Pass. Next is Snoqualmie Pass. Next is Stevens Pass / Skycomish. And the very final place to send a resupply box is Stehekin. So that is 14 places that I'm most likely going to send a box. Most people say don't send more than 10 boxes, so if you can cut that down to around 9 or 10 boxes, good for you. I would love to do that too. If you want the addresses and just random tips, like some of these places only accept UPS or USPS, whatever, I have all that information in my blog post, so go and check that out. On every single one of your resupply boxes, you need to write your name on all 6 sides of the box. Not your hiker name, your actual name. Also, try to write your ETA. It doesn't matter if it's correct or not, just a general idea. Some places will get really mad at you if you don't write that, and some places will get really mad at you if you don't write your name on all 6 sides. And also try to make your boxes a little bit unique. So use like hot pink duct tape, or put stickers all over it, or something, decorate it with pictures, something so that they can go and grab your box really fast. That will make them happy and you'll get your box faster. Be sure to always have cash on hand because, as I said earlier on, a lot of these places, if not maybe all places at this point, charge you something to pick up your box. So it might be $5, it might be $40. So make sure you just always have cash on hand. A bit of advice that I just learned recently but I thought was really, really great is to always send 1 day less of food than you think you're going to need. So if you send a box that you think you're going to need, send 7 days of food. Send 6 days of food. And here is why. For one, a lot of times you're not going to eat all of your food, so then you're going to just be carrying extra weight. Secondly, there's almost always going to be a hiker box nearby that you can supplement your missing food. And thirdly, you are most likely going to be craving 1 or 2 things every time that you go into town. So if you go in and you're craving like cherry Pop-Tarts or something, but you didn't have cherry Pop-Tarts in your box, you're gonna just go and buy some cherry Pop-Tarts because that is what you're craving. So then you're gonna be carrying 8 days of food or whatever it is. So just send a little extra food because you're almost always going to supplement what you know, what kind of food you're in the mood for in town, whether it's what you're craving or maybe it's a local delicacy, or maybe like, oh my gosh, they have the best bagels and I could pack out bagels, but you couldn't ship bagels to yourself. Whatever it is, send a little bit extra food so that you can supplement in town. So I hope that you found this video useful. Again, I would love to hear your thoughts and your tips. But as always, please like this video and subscribe and share it and become part of the Grace Goes Global group. Ooh, Grace Goes Global group. Oh, I just came up with that. Groupies. Global groupies. Okay, I'm done. I hope you guys have a great day and see you next time.